is of Construkted Reality is the company he founded, and I'll just talk a little bit about this world. So we're in VR chat right now, which it's freely available. Anybody can join up and grab into it. It's something like, VirBELA and Rumii and that sort of. But this VR chat is much more, I guess it's designed more for anybody to join. It's not business related. If you go wandering around, you're going to find all sorts of different people to interact with. But we're in a private room right now. How did you get to be in Abundance Digital?
Abundance Digital. Years ago, I read Peter Diamandis' book, Fold, and I had to look up the name of the book while we were offsite. I forget the second book that he wrote, or maybe Bold was the second one, and the one before that. Abundance.
Abundance, yeah, correct, yeah.
Yeah, and so I knew about Peter, and I really respected the work that he had done, and I think I was following him on Facebook. There was some mention of this new community. I knew of the Abundance 360 that was meeting every year, but that was a little nothing that I could afford right now or
right.
do. So this Abundant Digital came up. I thought it was a fantastic opportunity for everyday people to experience and to get the kind of information that the Abundance 360 members get that seminar, and to be able to even experience that through video and get access to all that information and everything else that Peter has worked on. So I signed up right away a couple of years ago now, and yeah, it's been great ever since. I've been enjoying the community. I've been enjoying seeing what everybody's been posting. I love the fact that everyone's very energetic, very enthusiastic about posting the latest and greatest of technological advancements in every field, and how and kind of encouraging everyone else that the world we live in is really amazing.
Right, that's great. So, and let's talk a little bit about your moonshot and your MTP. For you, if I say what's your moonshot, what sort of things do you think of? What do you?
So, to start off, there is I don't think I've come to a moonshot yet.
Okay.
Let me backtrack. I don't think I've come to an MVP yet. The moonshot is the project I'm working on now, Construkted Reality. The ultimate goal is to create and to provide access to a high-definition, three-dimensional copy of our reality, of our world. Not the quality that Google Maps has, but a much higher quality version of that. That's the moonshot. The MTP, still trying to figure that out, still trying to narrow things down, still trying to focus on what it really is. I've watched a lot of videos of Peter's talks about moonshots and MTPs, and at a certain level I understand, but at the same time I haven't been able to formulate my own. So yeah, still a work in progress.
No, and that's fair. And I think a lot of us in the community are the same way, right? We're still trying to figure out exactly what we want to do and what it means. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Constructed Reality. So what sort of technology goes into capturing these 3D models? And if you haven't seen it, I'll post a website I'll have some meeting notes and post a website so you can go check it out. But I've looked at it. I've gone like kind of zoomed around these nice 3D rendering models, and it's really impressive. So talk a little bit about the technology that goes into it.
The technology that goes into it, I mean, there's several aspects to the technology. One is a delivery, one is the capturing, and the focus right now is mainly on the delivery of the content and acquisition of other people's content. The idea is to crowdsource as much as possible the 3D capture of our world. So the streaming happens similar to how YouTube streams large video. You don't sit there for 20 minutes to download that video. YouTube streams it to you as you watch it. Similar way, a lot of the models that are currently on Construct Reality are massive, 5-10 gigabytes, if not larger,
Right.
and
Yeah,
which is required to get a high definition version of what you're looking at. So in order for you not to sit there and download that file just so you can look around for 10 seconds, it's done through a streaming service. So what you actually see is the low resolution at first when the model is small. As you zoom in, different portions of it, higher definition, higher resolution versions of that area load up. Zoom in even further. Again, depending on your level of zoom, depending how close you are to, more data gets loaded constantly. So you can walk around, you can move around, you can rotate the object. Not everything is going to be not everything is loaded in high res, just what you're looking at. So the idea for now is to create this platform that can accept large data sets people can upload that I already have. We're talking to cultural heritage preservation organizations that already have some data that we're using currently. We're constantly expanding that to other organizations that already just also have data but aren't really showing it.
Okay.
It turns out that a lot of heritage organizations, cultural preservation nonprofits capture a lot of locations in 3D like this, but there is no acceptable, no quick way to share that data to make it visible to the public. So one of the things that we're doing is trying to partner with them and display what they've captured, to display the data that they've content that they've acquired in a manner that anyone can use. So far, we're just using 2D screens to view this data. The next step is going to allow you to walk around that data in a VR kind of experience.
That's the bit that really excites me, is being able to walk in this environment. I've done a few of the VR experiences, like Mount Everest, and they're somewhat limited in what you can do, right? They give you a very small scope. Like you can walk down this particular, this particular area, you can have this particular face, but you don't get the whole experience. And I think that's what I like from what I've seen when I move around your environments. What are some of the environments that you have collected on your website so far?
Some of the sites that I personally captured are some rock climbing locations in my area. I'm a rock climber. The way this project started, I don't know, 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, was I always wanted to. I always thought, well, since I'm rock climbing outside at some crag, some location, wouldn't it be interesting nice to have a digital copy of that, so I can practice at home, or I can not practice per se, but visualize and look at the route, look at the climb where I'm going to climb it. There's climbs in the U.S. where the climb itself is thousands of feet tall. Mm-hmm. Most people that climb those things will climb it a few times in their life. So there is no way to really experience it unless you climb it. What if there is a digital version of that full climb, and you can train, you can visualize that whole climb at home, in the evening, for example, or whatever. So this set that, let me start capturing some of these locations that I climb at. So I took a drone and camera and did a whole bunch of photography. I'll talk a little bit about the process. We mentioned how do you capture this data.
Yeah, please do.
I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
So that's how it kind of started, is I wanted to capture my own locations. You asked what other sites there are. There's a historical site in India. I forget the name of it now. The Thomas Jefferson Memorial in the U.S. In Washington, we have that from a preservation organization in the U.S. There's probably a couple of dozen different locations. In all of the locations that we have, you can experience them in two ways. You can take the object and you can spin it around, mm-hmm. kind of like you would on any typical 3D object that you would normally see. Or there is another mode where we can put the user in a first-person perspective, kind of like a shooter video game. So you just double click on the screen on the object itself at any point. The camera zooms into that location, and then with the WASD keys on the keyboard, you can move forward, back, left, and right. And with the mouse, you click and drag so you can look around the area. So you can experience that location.
This is all within your browser, right? You don't ever have to download any sort of application. It's all streamed right to the browser?
Right, everything's done in the browser. Yeah, that's right. There's no downloading of any application. It's all web-driven JavaScript. And you can experience, you can get a perspective of what that site looks like, or what the location looks like from a first-person perspective.
That's awesome.
It's actually quite impressive. One of the Thomas Jefferson Memorial that I mentioned earlier is quite awe-inspiring to. I mean, I've never seen it in person, but virtually walking into that location and moving around and look at the big statue, and there's inscriptions on the wall inside the memorial, and you walk up and you read all the inscriptions, and it's a massive piece of engineering. The memorial that was built, and just to experience the grandeur of it, you can't really experience that unless you're standing as a person would, looking around the room, the area.
Right.
There's a few churches that I have from different locations. In Mexico, I think, there's one, and some European sites as well. We're slowly expanding the database with other people's work. The capturing process, it's mainly two ways of capturing these locations. One is called photogrammetry, which is a process of using photography to recreate a three-dimensional version of what you photographed. So you can take any object, you can photograph it from many different angles. Object being a coffee can, or a room, or an entire city block. And there's software that will look at all these photographs and interpret them and create a digital representation of that, a three-dimensional representation of what you photographed. The other technology is laser scanning, which lasers to measure distance from one central location, space all the way around it. And combining these two technologies, photogrammetry, LiDAR, laser scanning, create much higher detailed 3D models that can experience and walk around in.
Okay. Now, have you noticed there's been a significant drop in LiDAR prices? I heard they were coming down, but not very quickly. What's your take on that?
So yeah, the LiDAR that you hear and see on the news typically are devices that are meant for self-driving cars and for industry in general.
Right.
The technology for scanning 3D capture of environments and locations is similar ideas, but the scanners themselves they have to capture a lot more data. When I say a lot more, I'm talking 100 times more data than what an industrial LiDAR unit would do, because mainly the industrial LiDAR units are two-dimensional. When you see them, they'll say that they have so many number of channels. Just means how many lines they can scan across. But when you're using a LiDAR system for 3D capture, you don't just one set of discrete amounts of lines that the laser scans. You want to scan the whole room in 360 degrees in every direction. So the technology is slightly different, much more advanced and much more expensive because of that.
Okay. So let's talk about the sort of challenges you're having with this, if you have any. Is there anything? What's the most challenging thing you've encountered over the last couple of years, like building constructed reality?
The challenges keep changing, to be honest. What was a challenge 2 years ago is trivial now, but there's other challenges. I think at this point now it's more to do with marketing and getting public awareness and trying to get the word out there. The slogan for the marketing slogan that we're starting to use now is "Our planet needs a backup." What that means is our planet is being destroyed, whether by weather or by wars or by any kind of natural, man-made or otherwise disasters. Locations get destroyed. The Notre Dame burnt down, or most of it burnt down this summer, for example, in Paris. There's locations like that all over the world that deteriorate due to human or weather-related effects. So being able to capture and store and allow everyone else to see those and experience them, that we think is important. So
Yeah, I
part of what
agree.
we do is the capture, and the other part is the display, the sharing of this information that we acquire. Storage is a big issue because these data sets aren't small, so trying to deal with figure ways to compress data more to save on cost. as a bootstrap startup, it's everything, every penny goes a long way. So the 3D streaming service is an open source project that we've partnered with, and we're using their technology. The platform that we're basing everything on is another open source project. So it's what we currently have is kind of a merger of a bunch of technologies together to try to put together a whole, which is the site that we currently have.
So what other things are you interested? So you mentioned that eventually you'd like this to be like virtual worlds you can walk around in, like same idea. Like I put on my headset, I can go into one of your virtual worlds, like with your monument, and walk around them. So what kind of timelines do you think? And I'm not going to hold you any timelines. I'm just curious. What you expect? Like, go ahead.
2 years away.
Yeah.
The part of the challenge is staying focused and not. I have 1,000 ideas and directions that I think would be awesome for this project to go. But again, because it's a bootstrap project, no outside funding, we need to be very specific in what we're doing right now. And sure, the VR thing is on our roadmap. We want to aim towards that. But more important to have a 2D experience or on regular flat screens for everyday users, because most people don't have VR headsets. So who are we going to be serving? That 1% of people that have a VR headset. So whereas everybody else has a flat screen. So of course we started with that technology with just the two-dimensional, flat screen rendering of a 3D space. People can interact and walk around in.
Yeah, and I totally see where you're coming from. It is while I keep hoping we're going to get wide VR adoption and soon I'm going to be able to do all meetings in environments like this, it is slow.
Right.
Like I think when we talk to the community, it's probably more than in most communities talk to. In our community, there's probably about half a dozen people I've talked to with VR headsets that would be able to participate in something like this. Yeah, not a lot so far.
Right.
I mean, the Quest helped when the Quest came out. I think a few members were talking about picking that up. So it's getting better, but it's still it's sort of like niche sets of people who are exploring VR more than others.
Right, and are excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah. What sort of things would you need either from the community or just in general to get yourself to your project to the next level? Like, is it just a matter of some more time? Do you have everything you need, or is there, if you could have anything you needed, what would that thing be that would help you get to the next step?
That's a great question. Again, one of the things I'm looking for now is a co-founder, somebody to work with, to share this experience with, and not to share, but to be honest, to help me, to push me in the time when things personally don't feel like they're going well. And I know having one or two other co-founders, Peter's talked about this a lot, totally helps energize one another to continue going when things aren't feeling so well for one of them. So I know I need that. I know currently, if I continue on this path of myself and a couple of coders working on this, the rate of success realistically is pretty low. I think Elon Musk mentioned some early interviews, talks about his company, wouldn't talk about his company early starts of SpaceX, Tesla. He rated them as 20-30% success rates. And one of the things he mentioned was to be realistic about how successful you truly think you are, not bullshitting yourself.
Right.
So
right.
I think currently it's a pretty low rate, 20-30% success, if that. So I know I need to grow. I need to get outside the board. That's a great question that you asked. So I think the biggest thing I would selfish is someone to partner as a co-founder level to be able to. However, it's difficult to find people that have this niche perspective and desire to change the world using these kind of technologies.
Right.
I've searched and not a lot, but I looked around and I've tried to find people with similar interests. And while I found people with similar interests, nobody wants to devote every waking minute to do what I'm looking at doing, what I want.
Anybody out there interested in this stuff, please reach out. Start the conversations. Maybe there's somebody out there who's just been waiting to hear about this particular type of project and wants to get involved. I think it's fascinating. There must be more people, because even as you just describe it, some of these beautiful places are being destroyed.
Totally. I mean, the preservation stuff happened. There's already a lot of organizations out there that do this 3D scanning.
Mm-hmm.
Twofold of what we're trying to get to is to display this data, and hopefully in the not far future is allow everyone, if you go to visit some site in Greece and you take a camera with you, well, I can give you some instructions on how to take some photographs of that location that you're interested in, which we can then combine with other people's photographs and create in the crowd power of doing what they want to do, take pictures in this case, and we can do the recreation ourselves, but we need the data from everyday people. So it's a monumental task to photograph high definition every location on the planet. But I think if the crowd is engaged the right way, it can be done. I think it's possible. Technology exists. It's not like we have to create out of this world technology. Technology exists. Turn photographs into 3D representations. We just need a lot of photographs, which means to get people to take pictures.
Right. And how do you feel in this environment? What do you think that there is, how far are we from being able to have conversations in environments like this that feel real enough that it's could almost replace either at least a Zoom meeting or a real life meeting? What are your thoughts on that?
To be honest, we're pretty far. I don't. I mean, aside from the weird body proportions that don't really feel right, it's just the presence, the body presence in the space just doesn't quite feel right. It's subtle. I mean, one of the big ones is not being able to really control the fingers. With the right controllers, the index controllers have individual finger control. You can really get finger movement, but with my Vive controls, like I said, I've only got just a few different controls that I can do for all the fingers.
Now, if you can't see the camera there, I showed it earlier. Well, I can't reach too far off the couch.
Yeah.
But there's the difference between the new index controllers and the Valve index controllers and the Vive ones. So the Vive ones, you have a big circle on your controller. You can press up, down, left, right, and it gives you different motions. But I have found that this has really changed some of my interaction, being able to have actually full fingers.